Well, here we go. This is to honor our cetacean friends before we get started. And this photo was in just off of Homer, Alaska in 2009. Sophia and I went out on a boat and encountered a humpback whale feeding frenzy. And it was just magnificent. And there was a photographer on board, and he got these amazing photographs. So I just want to honor our cetacean spirit, and also the dolphins. And here's Barbara's painting of the dolphins, and it also has the symbol of CHUEN, which is my tribe. And this is a painting I did in about month 4 of our, month 3 or 4 of our new moon Zoom meetings for the lightning path. And I noticed when putting this presentation together that I had a yellow for the floor, which I kind of found unusual, but there's a reason for it, I found out, because it matches Dwayne's yellow submarine. So we'll hop on board the submarine and take off on this adventure here. So welcome to CHUEN and Friends. This is my my glyph, CHUEN, and the friends include the cetaceans, the whales, dolphins, and all of us, and more to come. So this is my temple of birth, which reveals my nature. This is the first step towards discovering what the hidden promise of the Mayan sacred calendar has in store for me. And this promise can only be activated by me. So here's a quote from Dwayne. Such a mindful and realistic approach is a practical way of empowering your thoughts and actions with the intent of making contact with the non-ordinary realms of consciousness latent in the symbolism incorporated in the Tzolk'in. In this way, you will forge a link between the physical world of the senses and the metaphysical world of the cosmic imagination. You will thus join a long line of spiritual ancestors who have contributed meaningful to the mythic regeneration of our species. Dwayne Warren. Let's go back here. Dwayne's experiences and efforts have created what's called the lightning path, and he's created something new, initially bringing in together the Tzolk'in, the 260-day calendar, and the powerful symbolic language of the 20 glyphs, combining with the numbers 1 through 13 and the lunation cycle. And along the lightning path, Dwayne has brought in his discoveries about chakras and the I Ching and connections to the orbit of Uranus. As Dwayne says, Uranus being the astrological significator of awakening and transformation. And we can discover more by listening and watching the last 11 new moon presentations and by exploring the website created by Dwayne. Dwayne is an example of a friend of CHUEN. So back to me, the Mayan oracle interpretation is I'm CHUEN, a jester of the cosmic court and royal prankster extraordinaire. I'm the streamer from the heart of joy that weaves itself through the fabric of the cosmic play with savoir-faire. So this is from Shakespeare, The Tempest. I long to hear the story of your life. And he wrote of jesters and fools, so here's my story. We start off with the Uranus time beam. Starts in 1986, goes till 2007. And there's the time beam is made up of 21 years, and there's 4 of those, which coincides with the 84 years of which Uranus orbits around the sun. The time beam starts in 1986, 1 year before the harmonic convergence in August 1987, when the spirit of the feathered serpent emerged dramatically. And I feel I entered the time beam on January 1st, 1993. Here I am, the guy with the reddish-orange tie. I'm entering the lightning path time beam. I'm trumpeting myself in, leaving the old self behind. And this picture is actually of the night Sophia and I met. And there's Sophia in the wild animal top. And I'm in the latest fashion from Sears. And this is the time two stars collided, Sophia and Steve. And our song is The One by Elton John. And it has in the lyrics, when stars collide like you and I, no shadows block the sun. And this is all happening during the yearly temple of serpents, of which is Sophia's temple. So there is an entry by Dwayne on that time beam regarding January 1st, 1993, when Dwayne raised money to travel to Mexico. It's a great story, and you can find it on the website in the Uranus time beam. And it's a great story, and in reading it, I felt he met Mother Mary. And for me, Let It Be starts playing in my head. And it's an amazing story where Dwayne discovers on his pilgrimage to Mexico, Tula, where the temple of the feathered serpent is located. And he found synchronicity with some mucklucks, a spaceship, and an 8-pointed star. And it sure sounds like Dwayne collided with a star because he pounced right onto the center of it in the story. And I highly recommend that reading. So I found this on the website, his Sacred Space Theater. And I'm not certain what year and how many of these rituals were presented, but I know I went to one of them, put on by Dwayne and friends. And at that time, I was just starting on my path of self-discovery. And I worked in building supplies, and this is about how much of the myths and glyphs I understood about temples. That's the inside of a packing crate. Looks like a guard. And this is where I was introduced to the CHUEN glyph. And here's a picture of Dwayne with CHUEN, and there is the glyph. And my temple represents the temple of monkeys, artists, and tricksters. So once my temple was discovered, it came with a complete package. I received my invocation of sovereignty, which is shown here. And I resonate especially with the 7th line, or the 7th position in the temple. I vibrate in ecstasy to the dynamic potency of sacred artistry. And the 13th and last line, I surrender myself completely to our sacred home, the earth. So I feel very grounded in the earth elements, and I like trees. So I have my key words for CHUEN in the Tzolk'in, and their mask, clans, humor, theater, disguise, reversal artistry. You can see them all here. And I have my mudra for the monkey artists and tricksters, which is just smiling innocently with the hands on the heart, and then with spontaneity, placing my thumbs in my ears while wiggling and waving the fingers. But it also comes with sound like that is my mudra. And I also have my shadow side to play with, that of being too serious. And a few more here. So with these gifts and knowledge, I set out and I discovered the Tao and the old master, Lao Tzu, and riding a water buffalo backwards as a sacred fool, he's attempting to awaken the world to the way. And in 1995, my teacher appeared in, he's a Taoist and a trickster. He showed up, and he was such a trickster that he wrote the book, The Trick to Money is to Have Some. I like that idea. And I enjoy his philosophy that life was never meant to be a struggle, just a gentle progression from one point to another, much like walking through a valley on a sunny day. And so on one sunny day, Sophia and I enrolled in Stewart's Warriors in the Mist. It was a 10-day course in Taos, New Mexico. And it was held in the summer at the local ski hill called Sipapu. And a Sipapu is a portal in a kiva where the ancestors emerge. And the course was a mixture of native rituals and the Sweat Lodge Vision Quest with a touch of Tolomak. And with Stewart being British and a trickster, Tolomak was Camelot spelled backwards. We would ride up a chairlift in the dark at 4:30 in the morning to mystical music playing in the forest on the way up. And during a morning meditation, Sophia and we heard these angels singing, these celestial voices. And when we asked the music person, what was the music playing? She said, I didn't play any music. That was quite an opening. And after a sweat one evening, we were sent out individually into the forest with a bottle of water in the dark to sleep and build a stone circle to stay in until one heard the drum to return. When I woke up, I was just sitting up to vertical when suddenly a hummingbird came right into my face and startled me awake and then flew up the mountain. And that late afternoon, coming back down from the mountain, the hummingbird stopped a few inches from my nose and it just stayed there. And I felt its vibrancy and it was checking in on me. It's like we were in conversation and it was giving me the gift of joy. So some of the key words for CHUEN are mask, humor, theater, amusement, entertainment, of which I've always felt drawn to and enjoy. And in New Mexico, this is from the 9th, 12th century pottery designs of the Mimbres peoples of New Mexico. It's showing the clown society member who were actually the policing element of society. Here's another one. And if one's ego was out of balance, the clowns would come to that person's home and shame them. And when I saw this picture, it actually looks like looking through a peephole in a door and seeing who's at the door. And here are the clowns. So upon returning to Calgary, I went to see Patch Adams. He's in the center there. Went to see him speak. And he was going to war-torn countries to serve and entertain the children. And he's quite a medical doctor who believes in the care of the patient. as well as the disease. So he was inspiring, and this inspired me to come up with an idea. And the idea was, I think I'll enroll in clown school. Oh no. This is a classic picture of a court jester, complete with a bauble stick. You can see his stick there, and at the top is an image of himself. And that bauble stick was used because the jester kept the king and queen's egos somewhat in check, and if they disagreed with the jester's point of view, they would slice off the bauble and not the jester's head, which was a bonus being a part of the royal court. But it was a reminder to the king that maybe what he's thinking about might not be the right thing. So here's graduation day, clown school, or Steve-O. That's also known as me. And I graduated along with Glowina, also known as Sophia. And you'll see here we're white-faced clowns, and white-faced clowns are they're the tricksters, which is very CHUEN. And these are tricksters at work here, handing out a door prize, which was actually a door. And we gave the door to the winner that had the ticket, and then we presented them with a bouquet of flowers. And here's a picture of the Calgary Stampede. So as a group, we were allowed to join the front before the parade started, because the Calgary Stampede Rodeo is not clown friendly unless you're a rodeo clown with the bulls. So we got to walk in front before the official parade, and you can see the red lights there. Well, I had a small metal white chair. I walked the parade route, and then when the light would turn red, I would fold the chair down and sit and stop and wait till the light turned green. And then when it turned green, I continued on. And I had a lot of fun playing with the crowd. And then all of a sudden, an RCMP and a parade authority came up, and they shouted at me to get off the parade route. So I cut across the side street to the route going the other way, and I did a routine, and a motorcycle pulled up again. And this time he told me to get the F out of here. So it seems that clowns have lost the policing in our society, and it's been turned over to the authorities. So I made my way along the sidewalk to the end of the parade route to a park where I waited for Glowina, who caught a ride on a float. While I was waiting in the park, a mother and her diverse son, about 12, saw me from across the park, and the boy ran towards me and gave me a big hug. And I hadn't done anything. I was just the essence of a clown. And I started to cry. So unlike the trickster who actively plots and lays elaborate traps, the fool functions best when carried by the story rather than the other way around. And here's the four hobbits on the fool's journey in the Lord of the Rings. The fool's strength lies in the very qualities that separate him from the conventional image of the heroic: humility, humus, earth, and the willingness to support others rather than seeking power or glory directly. So here's a classic duo, John and Yoko. Yes, and Laurel and Hardy, the other classic duo. And Hardy's on the left, he's the trickster, and Laurel is on the right, the fool. And I'm sure the trickster had a plan, but the fool messed it up. And they ended up in bed with John and Yoko. And I saw a sign the other day in downtown, and sometimes I shock myself with the smart stuff I say and do, and the other times I try to get out of the car with my seatbelt on. And that just shows that we have both trickster and fool to play out in our lives. So we have the white-faced trickster clown and the bozo type Auguste fool clown. Those are the two types, like the Laurel and Hardy. And there's one more type, and that's the tramp, the deadpan, or the victim. And this was a street artist in Siena in Italy that I saw drawing this clown on the street, the tramp. So I tried out the tramp, the deadpan, and the victim, and it was at an open mic evening at a workshop. And I'd like you to meet my friend Steve Stern. He looks pretty judgmental, and he was pretty victimized by the posture, and he got some laughs. So here is a cabin in Bragg Creek. This is the closest one I could find that reminded me of Dwayne's when he lived in Bragg Creek. And we visited Dwayne for New Moon Drummings in Bragg Creek, Alberta. This was during a period we were involved in shamanic drumming and journeying. And I remember how creative Dwayne's space felt then. And this is my favorite painting of Dwayne's, the Skywalker. So he was creating a lot of things there, and was moving along the time beam with this drumming, and it just felt like a portal of a drum circle, and the drum circles we'd had at Dwayne's, and this picture feels like a drum and a circle and a portal with sparks. So again, moving along, also in Bragg Creek. This Bragg Creek appears a very auspicious place. I found what the Buddha taught there through the 10-day Vipassana meditation course that was held at a boys and girls camp in the start of the new millennium in the year 2000 along the time beam. And I look again at my keywords for CHUEN, and the new words start to jump out: the hangman, the ethnic groups, the tribal meetings, spontaneity, and apprenticeship. And I really felt the ethnic groups coming together in the Vipassana meditation. I really feel the world coming together there. So after a person discovers the enlightenment, what enlightenment could be through the Buddha, where does a person go? They moved to Las Vegas, and that was in 2003. We cashed out. We came from renunciation. We sold everything: the car, the house, the business, and with 2 suitcases, we flew to Las Vegas and from Calgary, and we thawed out in the desert. It was more like melted. So how's that for spontaneity? Sophia and I found clans. I remember going to a bikers festival in Laughlin where they had all their booths and everything, and that was an interesting experience. There was certainly amusement and entertainment here. And it was fascinating. I was able to look at all my judgments and observe all the addictions all in one place in this city. And the bonus was with the Nevada driver's license, we received 50% off for every show. And we were able to go see Paul McCartney and Elton John, Eric Clapton, Madonna, and the Eagles and George Carlin, and a few more. But our main purpose was to arrive there, and then we bought a vehicle, and we decided we wanted to see the West and camp. And we bought camping supplies, and we traveled through the Western US and through BC and back up to Alberta for the summer to do some retreats. And what turned out to, we thought we'd be doing that for a year. It turned out to be 4 years that we spent with nature and the earth. And I had the word reversal in my CHUEN keywords, and I'm very grateful that we did things kind of in reverse. We didn't wait for retirement, and we got this travel and exploration in early. And then during our travels, the world of art opened up to us. We traveled through the West. There's Mount Hood. There's a CHUEN in the lake. Here's a picture of my travel buddy. One of her favorite places is on the water, enjoying the travel. And we made it to a lot of hot springs and mineral springs throughout the West. And then we came across, there's Mount Rainier. And on our travels, we would stop for 10 days and either sit or serve. And this is the pagoda in California in the Sierras. And again, we were able to connect with ethnic groups and tribal meetings in the Vipassana. And we made it to Mount St. Helens, which is quite an ecosystem after that blast. And went into the caves in Carlsbad. Down the 700 feet, we walked down into it, deep into the earth. And out through the desert and the saguaros. Learned a lot about life in the desert, that there's amazingly a lot of it out there. And then we met Paul. He was putting on a teacher's training, and we'd never painted before. He said, it doesn't matter, just come to the teacher's training. And so we learned from all the teachers about painting mandalas. And then we traveled with him painting mandalas. We went to Hawaii and Esalen and Harbin Hot Springs. Enjoyed discovering the world of mandala painting. And during that time, that's a mandala of mine. And during this time, we spent like a week at a time with my mom and dad, and I was able to connect with my parents, and Sophia was able to connect, and it was just a beautiful thing to watch Sophia and my dad become best buddies. It was very fun. And we'd show my dad some of these mandala art. He said to me, when are you going to paint something real? And so I said, okay. They had a statue of St. Francis in the garden, and they went to church. So I thought I'd paint them a St. Francis. And yeah, it was a beautiful time to travel, connect with the earth and nature and my parents, and assist in letting them go. And this was the first time beam that ended in 2006. And join me next time for the Uranus time beam 2007 to 2023, CHUEN and Friends Part 2. That's it. There we are. We can unmute.
Wow.
Wow.
Bravo.
What to say?
Speechless. Yes. Way to go, Steve. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Who's
Yeah.
gonna want to follow that, Steve?
Well, I think I am next month. I traded with Sophia because we're going to be traveling, and I realized, wow, I had a lot, so I want to do part 2.
Okay.
So I'll be following myself, so you guys can relax.
Can you do 3, 4, 5, 6?
Yeah, well, I felt I once I got going with it, I just felt it gave me great clarity as to what Dwayne's work is about, and I wanted to kind of get it to its simplest form
Wow.
to share what is available for people
Wow.
when they connect with it.
Can you do mine as well, Steve?
Yes.
So well put together. I mean, how wonderful. So thank you. I mean, for you to take us on your journey with you. Like, I mean, oh my God, that was so succinct and so well put together. And I'm just so grateful to have journeyed with you. So thank you so much. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. It's fun to finally put some of those pictures towards something.
Yeah, very nice pictures also you got. Very nice collection. I really enjoyed it. Especially the different mountains. St. Helena. You saw a lot of beautiful places.
Oh yeah, it was so fun to just stay in this place for 3 days and then
Wonderful.
back up, move to the next spot.
I like that you guys took your pension time early, you know.
Yeah.
That you enjoyed your life backwards.
Yeah.
Instead of
Yeah,
now.
did the reversal. Yeah.
Exactly. I love that.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. And it just puts so much. I mean, I've just known you briefly, Steve, and it's just like, oh my God, that was so full and it's like, oh, that's just, I feel, I know, I feel full of Steve now. It's like, oh my God.
You got the CHUEN.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, a bit about what our tribe is about.
Wow.
And it's fun. And I know Sophia and I have a mantra that it ain't fun, we're not doing it. So.
Wow. Wow. Well, you've certainly given life to CHUEN. I mean, that's now, I mean, you brought it to life. Like that, you know, that name, that temple, CHUEN, which is monkeys, Tricksters, you know, you've brought it to life. I mean, my goodness, there it is right there. Huh.
Well, that's the power of what's been assembled, brought together, and being able to transform and transcend as we move along.
Wow.
So, Steve, is there a book or something coming out called The Fool's Journey
Is there one?
from these presentations?
Huh.
Well, that was in the back of my mind, or in the front of my mind. I'm not sure where.
Okay.
It,
It just
I
came
always,
to see it. That's all.
I've always wanted to present kind of the history of the clown or the fool and the trickster. So maybe
Yeah. Oh,
this is
or
this
one of
is-
those semi-documentary things.
yeah, this is the start of maybe collecting that, because I'm fascinated by that, and
Hmm.
and then I
Wow.
have more to say about it in the second presentation. But
Wow. Can't wait. And an excellent start. I mean, my goodness me, so much to to build on. You've got so much there already, and it's like, oh my goodness, that is, yeah, yeah. Wow.
there's
Steve, that-
Naomi.
Yeah, thank you. Just finished almost done. Morning, everyone. Hi, Shirley. Yes. Hi, everyone. Naomi
Morning.
here.
Good to see you, Naomi.
Huh?
Good to
Oh,
see you.
good to see you. Yeah, I teach yoga to Shirley, yes, and some other people. Yes, so Steve, yay! I totally enjoyed the journey with you. I'm so grateful. I personally met Steve and Sophia last week. Oh, it was last week.
Yeah.
Finally, yeah, we've known each other for 4 or 5 years before the COVID, and finally that dream came true. And then, well, we haven't now really talked about our path, like fully about our past. But now I finally realized that you guys are my soul parents. I have a strong connection now. I didn't know you guys have already been to Efflin too, have you? Right? You mentioned, how about the Findhorn?
Where?
Findhorn.
Findhorn?
No, okay. Yeah, because I met some of the people from there. And I used to study in Japan about Cosmic Diary, that Jose Aguirre's, you know him. So the guy I was close to was like the assistant, well, co-creator, or the person who was doing the business with him. So 20 years ago, I was studying about the zoologins and then Cosmic Diaries, and I was into Efflin, and then of course, like I go ski to Mount Shasta, next to Mount Shasta, like every week, and there's so much common between me and you guys, and I just just totally enjoyed journeying with you. Thank you. And then you guys are I think the pioneer of the spirituality, when the spirituality was not so as popular as now. You guys were just leading, going to the edge, the first leading this area. I'm so impressed. And then so wonderful to know that you guys met each other, as a soulmate, so that makes me think that if I keep centering myself, maybe I'll see my soulmate someday. I don't have to rush myself, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Steve. That was wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, we met in Victoria last week, and we had a wonderful sunny day and dinner, and met you and your daughter.
Yes.
It was our first Zoom person that we'd never met before that we met live. So that was quite an experience.
That was fun. Totally fun. Yes.
I have a question. I when you said pioneer of what? There was a word which I didn't get.
Okay. Pioneer of the spirituality, Sophia.
Spirituality. Spirituality.
Yes. Or, this new age thing was once popular back then, but it was not as popular as nowadays, never before. That's how I feel. And then my father is about the same, a little bit older than you guys, but he was the one too who told me about the spirituality and then the conspiracy theory and how the world works and stuff like that. And I feel very comfortable being with you guys because, you have the essence that, my father had, who has passed away 18 years ago.
Mhm.
Very thankful.
All of the woo-woo, we call it the woo-woo. The woo-woo, all kind of woo-woo stuff.
Stuff.
Like, like as you say, spirituality or new age or the woo-woo people. Or I had a friend and she was saying, oh, Sophia, those people from La La Land. And so it is kind of, I had to laugh because there is all kinds of different terms of, and I think maybe we just say it spirituality as a simple form, but I know what you mean. There is different terms, and I have been called, you are one of those, you are one of those, whatever is that statement mean.
Yeah.
Well, coming out of construction and building supplies, it felt pretty woo-woo. So yeah, there's going through those portals. I feel. And yeah, to some people it's like, what is this? But I remember Dwayne's rituals and the moon coming in and the sun coming in and that was amazing. That's that theater. And then suddenly I'm finding out that I'm in this CHUEN tribe and I'm going, wow, this is a lot of fun.
Steve, I'm new to the group and I probably missed your beginning, but how did you find out you were a part of this CHUEN tribe, or how did you get to that place of knowing?
Well, it would have been in that sacred theater that Dwayne was putting on in Calgary.
I see.
And I know I attended one or two, and I somehow CHUEN was presented to me, and at that time I don't even know. I just remember going around doing my mudra and people laughing, and it was just very, very basic until now, really connected with Dwayne's work on and off, like through distance, through the through the egg balancing and that, and now really going into it, and it's almost like the reversal, like I'm in that tribe and now I'm realizing, oh yeah, those are the gifts that I've had. In seeing all those words and things are starting kind of to make sense. That it wasn't like, okay, I've got these words now I'm going to be that way. It was more like, this is really holding true. That this tribe and birth date and connection is very, very, feels very real.
Thank you.
Steve, could I speak to Vicky's query? Sure. So on my website, lightningpath.net, if you go to the left column and scroll down, you'll find a little tab that says find temples of birth. if you click on that, you'll be taken to the Book of Electrum, as I called it, which is a list of lunar years. And you just find your birth. We could do that right now if you'd like.
Sure. I don't know that anybody else is interested in that process, or I can do it on my own. Whatever.
Well, this feels like a teaching moment, you know, like this
Okay.
is very practical.
Okay.